Hello, everyone. It's Jordyn Smith, the voice and the astrologer for this YouTube channel, Nonconformist Conscience. I wanted to say today marks the first day that if you are a Libra, it is your birthday special. It is your time to shine. So if you've been wanting a reading by me and you've been waiting for the birthday special, today starts the first day where you can book that session with me for $75. It is a 90-minute reading where we meet each other over Zoom and I record it. That way you can have the recording indefinitely. And then we'll go over your natal chart, any questions that you have, and then also we will go over your solar return, which is looking at what is coming up for you this year. So also there's just like a little bit of time left before the online evolutionary astrology conference happens, which is the first weekend of October. It's going to last from the 3rd to the 6th, I believe, and I will be speaking that Friday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, going over the asteroid Cassandra. And if you want to purchase the whole pass and receive 10% off, and especially if you're a non-member, I think the pass is only $249. You've got 15 lectures. The lectures are 2 hours each, so that's 30 hours. And you can show up live, or if you miss something, you still get all of the recordings. They're yours to have for forever. But if you want to purchase that pass, I will post the link below, and you can receive 10% off the whole pass if you use the coupon code Jordyn10. And also I still have this eclipse special going on right now for the fall. I did this last spring. I really enjoyed doing an eclipse special. I feel like eclipses bring up a lot of stuff for people. So that's going to be going on for about another, week and a half, but you can purchase that. It's an hour with me on Zoom. It'll be recorded. You can have the recording. It's $80, and I will give you or answer any of your questions, not give you, but I'll answer any of your questions that you have and hold space for you to talk about what's coming up. So there's that. This is going to be a short video. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I see in the transits right now. And I'm doing this before I have clients. But we are in this eclipse portal, right? This like 2-week portal of dealing with these dynamics that are coming up. And we just had the Pisces lunar eclipse the other day. So it's containing and carrying this energy. And I made my video on Monday where I went over all of this. I'm sure a lot of you have watched it already. But for those who haven't, go back, watch that video. I'll post a link in the description as well if you're interested in it. But I want to share this chart with you of what's going on today. Before I do, I want to speak to two things. There is the asteroid Lucifer, which is conjunct Mars today. And the asteroid Lucifer is really interesting to follow and to utilize. I think it can freak people out. It definitely is this asteroid that, on the one hand, it can bear light. It's the bearer of light. It can be a positive thing. And on the other hand, like if we looked at it in your own natal chart, we would be able to see where you're the most easily influenced by these lower vibrational energies, or what some would call, evil or negative energies, however you want to put it. And what it really indicates, like in someone's chart, is on the one hand, where it can bear light to these dynamics. That way you can honor yourself on a soul level. And on the other hand, it can really show up where we are the most easily influenced by those energies. And how it works is Lucifer in someone's natal chart is it shows where you're the most emotionally vulnerable and susceptible, because that's where this energy tends to manifest, is in this emotional dynamic of where we feel the most emotionally weak or vulnerable. So as an example, I have Lucifer conjunct my north node. It's in Pisces, and that's ruled by Neptune in the 8th in Capricorn. And for me, in the past, I have really been influenced by more negative energies because I didn't want to see the truth of something. And I became a little bit delusional, giving ultimate meaning to certain people or structures within my life in the past. And what that ended up happening is I would have crisis in order for me to be confronted with that dynamic. I have a friend who has her Lucifer. It is in Taurus, and her 11th house, ruled by Venus. By her Venus, I don't want to go too much into it, but hers is where she's experienced a lot of inertia whenever she was needing to act on things and feeling really stuck, and and it's a trauma response, crisis inducing. I just talked to my really good friend um the other day about her. She was asking me questions. She actually has Lucifer conjunct her Pluto, her north node, and it's in the second Libra. And hers has been, she's been able to see this happen in her life with the experience of inertia as well, because it's that second house, but also where she's had these relationships with other people, Libra, where she gives and she gives and she gives. And um, there has been like a light shined on these dynamics with my own stuff or with other people's I've worked with, or at different times, from these kind of really tender, tough dynamics that we go through. It can be the bearer of light so we can receive the gift of understanding what needs to change, how we don't have to get caught up in those energies so much anymore, of how we could be influenced. And I'm being very generalized when speaking about my chart or some of these other charts a little bit, because um it could be a whole class. And it's just, it's something that I wanted to give a little bit of a foundation for. But I want you to remember that, yeah, it's a place in one's chart that we can see those energies magnified in our lives, where, think about when you're dealing with something emotional and you feel like, oh my gosh, like I feel so overwhelmed. I almost am reactive instead of responsive, and like I'm being so triggered. And the easiest way to see if this is being influenced in your life in a negative way is, I love that Jeffrey Wolf Green, he taught about this. Um, he said that when you are, because these are very subtle energies, okay? But whenever you are doing your work or you're growing and you're evolving, that's really where we can start to have this energy come into play, because it's to counteract the growth, right? We live in a plane of existence that is about polarities. So with good, you've got to have bad, right? Or whatever you want to say, positive, negative. But he taught, and I find this to be very true, that the easiest way to see that you're being influenced by this is through all of a sudden realizing that what you had set out to do, you're doing the opposite of it. Like, especially if you're someone who, I mean, even for me, my own natal Lucifer Pisces, is I will be having a spiritual practice, and all of a sudden I'm realizing that I'm keeping myself busy and not managing my time correctly to continue to develop that relationship, right? So it can just happen in all sorts of ways. But like, if you're, you had a goal, you were going after it, and all of a sudden you're like, how did I end up here? I'm doing the opposite of it. That's how you know that this is being influenced in your life a little bit. And again, I think the name Lucifer has this like really scary connotation, but it is a very important asteroid to look at. Um, and so I bring that up and I bring it to you because I want to show you guys what's going on with the transit of Lucifer right now and how we can work with this. So if you see, I will annotate this. This is the asteroid Lucifer. It's this upside down A. And it is conjunct Mars. And if you look at this, it's opposing Ceres. While square the nodes. Okay? That means that this Lucifer is ruled by this moon, which is about to change into Taurus. Meaning that as I'm going to stop this share for a second. I did want you guys to see this so you know what I'm talking about, and then I'm going to speak to this. So what we have here is we have a Cardinal Cross being ignited, and it was ignited. The other thing I want to point out is that the Sun and Neptune are opposing each other. This is really important. Let's talk. So with Mars and Cancer, we are looking at this dynamic of needing to cultivate these new patterns around our own emotional dynamics. It's like in order for evolution, for our own personal growth to proceed, there are patterns that we're needing to dissolve or to learn about and understand so that a closing of those old patterns can culminate and come to fruition so that new patterns of emotional awareness, of emotional structures within can be birthed, all right? And remembering that this Pisces lunar eclipse was really about this culminating dynamic of the old in order for new to begin, in order for new structures to appear, to emerge, for us to act on them, for us to really cultivate new structures in our life that are more authentic to each one of us and more in alignment with living naturally in the sense of not suppressing or repressing things that are naturally occurring within us. Okay, that's so much of Pluto and Capricorn right now as well. This dynamic of really self-reflecting on our own inner emotional dynamics, where the past was, where the present is happening, and what's needing to change. What old are we wanting to release? The ways in which we got our needs met. Maybe we were not self-reliant or self-sufficient. Maybe we were seeking our value outside of ourselves. Maybe we were seeking it through work or through admiration of some sort, or through the ways in which people can recognize us or see us, or the list goes on. It's just think about how often you see or experience where you're getting your value from, if that's coming from in or externally. So there's just this huge dynamic of this shift that's wanting to occur. Pluto's at the anaretic degree. It's last hoorah in the sign of Capricorn. So with Lucifer conjunct Mars in Cancer, and this moon is about to shift into Taurus, meaning we're working on our inner relationship to self. We're having these thoughts, these emotional dynamics come up the next 2 days, revolving around that in tandem with the totality of the transits happening. But Lucifer conjunct Mars in the sign of Cancer really is where we could be having, on the one hand, these soul tests that I've talked about, to be self-determined, to not be who we once were, and to make different choices in order to cultivate these new patterns. And on the flip side, for some people, this is really where they could be influenced on a negative emotional level right now, to kind of thwart them from that path of growth. So if you are recognizing that there are dynamics that are coming up in they might even be karmic dynamics. The best way to understand that is if you're having an emotional response that you feel like is larger than the context of what's happening, that's pretty much a sure sign that you're in some type of karmic dynamic. But with Lucifer activating this chart right now with Mars and pulling in this Cardinal Cross, this is where some people can be trying to apply what they've been learning and then all of a sudden getting freaked out like, oh my God, I started something new. What did I just do? This can be where you're understanding how you are in relationships on an emotional level and you're wanting to cultivate new patterns, and then something externally, especially in a karmic area, is being triggered and ignited, and so you're feeling this influence of your cross currents of your emotions. They feel so overwhelming. I don't know what to do and I want to blow up, or I want to, you know what, react and not be responsive. There is a very deep lesson with this Lucifer to use it consciously and to really dig your heels in and to self-reflect on what is going on inside of me and how can I best respond. I don't want to react because this is kind of this point in time where it's make or break. You're going to either do what you've always done or you're going to choose something different. Luckily, Ceres is sitting across the sky from Lucifer, and then that Mars in the sign of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn and Pisces, which is really speaking to helping us nurture and foster and facilitate this process of restructuring, of an emotional maturation process of I'm going to discern how to remain in integrity, even though I have a lot of emotional stuff coming up, even though I might feel afraid or scared to act or to speak. This is really this nurturing process of you can do this. This is about finding it within yourself to be able to do this and to be responsible in your actions and not reactive. So I wanted to mention that. It's like we're at this test, this in this 2-week portal period, a lot of people can be having a test. Other thing I want to talk about is the sun is opposing Neptune. The sun is in Virgo, Neptune's in Pisces, it's retrograde. This is where I want us to remember that Lucifer is on that Mars. This can be a time where people are really wanting to check out. This sense of futility. I don't know what the point is. And that's where they could be really influenced by these kind of darker, heavier energies. Because again, we live in a plane of existence that's about polarities. There can be energies that want to influence us to not do better. And this can be a day that we see people check out mentally, emotionally, some people spiritually, others, it can be suicide, things like that. And this isn't to fearmonger, it's just something that we see happen. And I just wanted to explain why this could be happening. It can be because of those emotional dynamics being triggered for some that it creates this huge over response of an emotional reaction where all of a sudden they're just done. They want to check out. Um, but on the flip side, the positive thing about Mars, Neptune opposite, not Mars, Sun, Neptune opposition is that this can actually, if we are consciously utilizing this Ceres and Lucifer energy, we can utilize it in such a way that one, it helps us dissolve Neptune, these old dynamics, to continue this work that was birthed on the Pisces lunar eclipse. We can utilize the bearing of the light and the inner emotional nurturance that we're being guided to have and receive on an internal level to do more self-improving. It can help us see and illuminate with that sun in Virgo what needs to be improved upon, especially if it's feeling like, oh, this is so big and I don't understand it. So I want us to keep that in mind. And then the last thing I want us to keep in mind is that Cassandra is really active in this chart as well. It's in Capricorn. Um, she's still at 22 Cap, but she's ruled by that Saturn in Pisces, which Ceres is as well. So this is something that I've been seeing a lot lately is I did the video with Michelle where I talked a little bit about the transit of Cassandra because I'm speaking about her for my lecture, but um I want us to think about when we speak up and we say the things that we need to say, other people's reactions are not ours. The healing comes from saying what it is that we need to say. And that the value is in the effort of doing that. I think oftentimes with Cassandra, I've seen this a lot lately. You could be playing a Cassandra role in someone's life by being the person who talks and says, this is a boundary, or this is what I'm needing, or um, having your own personal voice of authority, especially during this time, right? Um, but people's reactions to that, I would challenge you to look at if Cassandra, if you have their chart, to see if Cassandra is aspecting that person's chart. I've seen this a lot lately where other people might not be able to actually hear, and so projections happen. That's just part of growth. And if you're playing the Cassandra role, all you can do is allow that person to go their own way. The other dynamic is my friend B, she's an astrologer as well, and I've talked to her about Cassandra, but she just made like a little video on Instagram. I'll put a link to it. But she pointed out that right now, because I talked about this in that video, is that there's this resurgence in women speaking up, and like you see it with like the Me Too movement and all of that. So there's this Cassandra resurgence, but um, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him, Sean Combs, she pointed out that Cassandra is square his natal Venus right now. And we can see that there are women who are playing the Cassandra role, and that square to his Venus is having an effect on him. So you're going to be seeing more stuff like this pop up out in the collective. But I did just want to talk about this briefly today about Lucifer and the feminine goddess energy that's being pulled into this kind of eclipse portal season, because I feel like it's really important to understand why some of us might be feeling extremely triggered right now in a way that we haven't before on an emotional level. And so it's really about this restructuring process and making sure that all of the work that you've been doing up until this far is really, I can make a correct choice. I can make a correct judgment about how to proceed, about how to act, how to be in integrity, how to be impeccable, how to stand up and advocate for yourself or another, and also not take it personal, other people's reactions, right? Um, but still continue to self-improve and walk your own talk. That's really important. And if you're seeing it play out in the world right now where people aren't, it's because they could be being influenced by some of this kind of more heavy, negative, vibrational stuff. So, um, I hope this helps. I am going to be really busy today and tomorrow. I don't have my kids, so I work extra on the days that I don't, but come see me, come make an appointment if you have questions about this, if you have questions about anything, um, just relating to these energies, maybe not specific to your own chart, but just in general. Um, ask about it in the comment section. I'd love to answer some of those questions for you. Anyway, I hope you have a beautiful day. Again, give yourself grace, walk with integrity, be impeccable. Know that a lot of us are experiencing some karmic stuff to finally put the like it is about putting a punctuation on the end of saying no more, not doing this anymore. That's not who I was. This is who I am now. So if you're feeling these energies and they're, just be in integrity. I like to say Capricorn up and a Capricorn Pisces. Have faith, have trust, live in compassion, have some empathy, but also remain in integrity. And you can't go wrong as long as your intention behind it is sincere. So I will see more of you soon, and I can't wait to see some more of you guys that are Libras. Have a good day.